Charlie, gata no. Baby, I was someone trying to say, was it a hand of pressure? No,
But the gata no, where it is out?
who gata no?
You know that I don't record sound.
Oh.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our joy, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Yeah, so today is the 21st of May, 2025. Good morning. Welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro. It's always a pleasure to come your way. Thank God we're still alive and kicking. We're back again to join the nation's conversation on the top stories that are making the rounds. So I'll start with the front page of this newspapers as we have received them this morning. I'll start with the Daily Graphic. So Daily Graphic says that nation risk more revenue losses. Tech-led tax systems key. Experts at national dialogue. Break short-term development planning cycle. President charges NDPC. Ghana Card blocks prison graduates from national service. Inmates appeal to parliament to intervene. Local government minister cautions public against Boku conflict commentaries. The Ghanaian Times says getting rid of street beggars. Uphold children's right, dignity, CRI. Ghana committed to reformed business environment. President Mahama. Venture Capital Trust Fund invests 359.6 million cedis in 20 years. The Daily Guide. UTAG, UG demand Auditor General's resignation. Bamia Mahama clash over CD stabilization. SkyTrain trial. Professor Ameyaw Ekunfi rushed to hospital again. Lands Ministry partners Asantehene for high-level mining summit. The Insight. Shocking. Salaries of EC boards, AG, heads of IGBS increased from 34,000 cedis to a whopping 62,000 in 4 years. Captain Ibrahim Traore, the vanguard of a new Pan-African renaissance. Stop top international company from blocking waterway. East Legon residents appeal to AMA. Nadmo amid flooding concerns. Angry Mepe Abatepo residents blast MP whole West Assembly over neglect and lack of social amenities. GPHA boards vows to enhance ease of doing business at Ghana's ports. And 100,000 march for Palestine in The Hague as Europe marks Nakba Day. The Informer. NIB detains former Customs Commissioner over SML deal. Apology over NPP's 2024 electoral defeat. Bamia demonstrates maturity. MP. Value addition panacea for Ghana's development. Bahama. Accra floods. Nadmo tough on demolition as Meteo warns of more rains. An Informer, you need to check the spelling of Meteo. It's not Meto, it's Meteo. Warns of more rains. I hope you correct that. Apologize to our leader, Guta demands of G-Tech. As GPRT responds to fuel price drop, spare parts dealers reject reduction. The Inquisitor. Defense militants at work. Araba enjoys PR blowjob. Stop press. NIB detains former Customs Commissioner Isaac Krentel over role in SML deal. TCDA engages stakeholders on unprocessed rubber exports. Deputy Finance Minister inaugurates NLA Governing Board. The Herald. Claims of conspiracy meeting by Kulendi, Sori and others against Tokonu collapsed as ex-Council of State member breaks silence, demands police and national security probe. Sam George refutes claims of Lexus car gift from businessman, threatens court action. Luxury robber eating his own excreta. Court orders psychiatric test. NIB detains ex-customs boss Isaac Krentel over role in SML deal. And as appeals court halt Amewu's parliamentary benefits, his lawyers blame EC for legal challenges. The Daily Statesman. Wrongful rent alawa payment. Chief Justice Tokonu refunded 118,000 cedis. 49 other judges did same. Government credits Gold Board with CD's performance. Bamia admits past shortcoming. Asenso Boachi hosts successful constituency clinic in Bantaba. The Accra Times. The Governing Board of Gold Board inaugurated help Mahama to reset Ghana's economy after forcing. Nation mourns former Council of State member as Paul Afoko pays glowing tribute to late dad. Describes him as a man of many titles. Energy sector wahala, minority task minister to tackle fuel supply to IPPs urgently. Bilsa South DCE pays working visit to key agencies. Good news for fuel tanker drivers. MPA boss promises conditions of service. As Zainab Afoko, a remarkable grandchildren. The custodian, Gold Board to promote economic growth, Finance Minister. Kufuor calls for unity against tax leakages. Minority mocks NDC, Mohammed's 24-hour economy, now 24-hour doomso. Petitioner alleges conspiracy to axe Tokonu, but Thaddeus Sori denies meeting CJ Probe Committee judges. Prudential Bank CIO advocates African-centric AI development. The Daily Post. It is a monstrous lie. Thaddeus Sori responds to CJ Probe allegations. There's $2 million SkyTrain scandal. Judge surprised Ameya Kofi always falls sick on the day of the hearing of his case. Majority of Ghanaians support Tokonu's suspension as Chief Justice Global Info Analytics survey. The publisher. CRI blast GIS over ruthless beggars swoop. After forcing charges Gold Board to anchor economic transformation. Ayerga condemns gruesome murder of NHIA director. Dinner with petitioner's lawyer. Citizen demands dissolution of CJ committee, but Sori rubbishes claim. The Crusading Guide. Telecel Group strengthens commitment to Ghana's socio-economic development with major and CSRI initiative in digital skills training. Standing ovation for Bamia in London for apologizing after MPP defeat. Gold Board has started fulfilling its objectives, Finance Minister. Ghana Water Company has no contract with Edu Wahine. MD admits, says 1.3 million monthly payments were not former Signals Bureau boss. And oversight or overstep. Dr. Stephen Amwa flags Adongo's dual role, conflict of interest, Bank of Ghana appointment. There's the Metro Lens. NHI demands justice for slain Bongo manager. Bamia's apology pays off. MPP members gave him a standing ovation. Original TV's Nanaya Upoku appointed media and administrative officer for Ghana Cerebral Palsy Sports Federation. YEA police collaborates to engage 12,000 youth in community policing. In the Business and Financial Times, property tax could address MMDA's funding woes. SNIT bets on mobile money to drive accessibility. And there's Gesal targets $500 million in sesame exports, strikes partnership with agribusiness banks. Chodek eyes delivery services. There's also watch market, take policy action, beef up exports to consolidate CD gains. Professor Gachi. So that's it for the front page of the various newspapers we've received this morning. We'll be right back. My guests are seated. The conversation will start. Please stay with us.
tum. Mr. Friend Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Friend me once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain was key to double the action. Maybe this Sasso spray. Mr. Friend is Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasso. Tum preko.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Mommy.
Michelle, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Choco toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Choco toothpaste, Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Choco toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
MGL Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MGO Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
Cratchy, unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Ban uye denwa.
Oh, Mr. Yamfani come and me buru wa.
Mami boburo. Tony adelebe ko bra. Mumi yamfani ko Dr. Ban ho.
Dr. Ban oya de.
Bra, se banu nompemu adwuma sasabro slow Dr. Ban oye.
Hey, yemi kwa na meka. Oh, nompemu nimdi onu ana ye expect nya zanfo no. O akra eni Kumasi nompemu expect yen kan kire.
Did you know you can make money every day on the Wana Own game app? Here is how to play and win. Watch Wana Own on Entertainment Review every Monday, Wednesday and Friday on Metro TV. Scan the code for access, select a game and play away. There's money to make on Wana Own. What are you waiting for? Wana Own, more money every day. Endorsed and accredited by NLA.
Hey Ghana, hey Accra, where the maiden edition, walk in your jersey, Ignite Sports and Yade Bramo, Basso Saturday, 24th of May, 2025. Yeah, Shassia or Accra Mall, near Kwakubia, Center Point Mall, our Atomic Junction, Shannon Song, Ignite Sports.
Team Bain, our supporting Arsenal, Man U, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Inter, and FC Barcelona, and yeah. Show Jesse, na Brasia, walk in your Jesse, Yenina Yenshia Jesse, Niemra, Nienantimo.
Etia 2 years at the friend, sorry, Akuo Enina, Keep Fit Club, and Nasa Suku, Ahudu Enina, ye Shasia, our shopping mall, a crab or ye Shasia, near the Akopim, our center point. And you walk in your Jesse, we taking over.
You're still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television, and the show is also live on 94.1 FM. So in case you want to monitor the show on your radio dial, please tune in to 94.1 FM. My guest is seated. Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. And also joining us this morning is a man who hasn't been here in a while. Must have been about three or 4 weeks ago that he joined us. Collins Adomako Mensah. He is the MP for Efija Kwabre North, and also a former Deputy Energy Minister, and also a Deputy ranking on the Energy Committee of Parliament. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
I hope that you're doing very well.
By grace,
how's the family? How's the constituency?
Constituency is good. I returned from there just 2 days ago.
Okay.
This morning I've not heard any bad news, and so I suspect that everything is fine. I traveled back to the constituency today,
right,
just to round up activities with the constituent before Parliament resumes on Tuesday.
Okay.
So I leave to the constituency after the show. Yeah.
How are you managing the advent of the rains, the downpour? Are you being that heavily affected?
I've not received any negative reports from my end. You know, mine is a very typical. When it comes with the wind, that is where I have a challenge, because I normally will get some of the schools having their roofing sheets wiped off and all that. But till this morning, I've not received any damning information on that. But I'm told that there were some flooding in some parts of Kumasi, the central district. Yesterday I was on another show and I was blunt and said, both political parties, we should be ashamed of ourselves. I mean, we can't keep coming to shows like this and keep talking about people dying because there's a 2-hour, 3-hour rainfall. And I've seen too many pictures, and I'm sure Nkwesi can share more, of presidents being taken to flood areas and giving all kinds of promises. I've seen Kufuor, I've seen J.J. Rawlings, I've seen Anado, I've seen His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I've seen Mills, His Excellency. I've seen all of them being whisked immediately after there's a downpour, dressed well, and then they make all kinds of promises. Yes, some investment have been made, but what we are seeing now is a clear indication that investment over the years have not been enough.
Yeah.
And yes, His Excellency now is in power. I'm told he set up an inter-ministerial committee, task force to ensure that...
Which is chaired by Stan Dogbe.
Absolutely.
The Deputy Chief
I hope that we don't come back next year to have a discussion about floods. It's terrible. I mean, our friends at the Adenta area, Lakeside, terrible. I mean, if they share the experiences with you, it was terrible. I'm told 3 people died. I've seen videos of a guy drowning and his colleagues trying to pull him off and all that. So, as I said, I just hope that we don't come back to discuss this issue. It's just been too repetitive. It's the same problem, it's the same issue.
You know, yesterday, interestingly, we were having the same conversation, and, you know, Annie, as part of her research, she dug up a story in the Daily Graphic as far back as in 1960. It's just to buttress the point you're making.
And the general attitude of the populace. You know, you go somewhere, you see people literally dumping refuse into a dam. I saw, you know, President Kufuor's time, they contrasted this odor, the Alajo. And I asked one lady, why are you dropping this? And then when the thing gets flooded, you are the first person to be affected because you are close to, and you are putting rubbish into the gutters. It's unfortunate.
Anyway, I'll come to the Kwesi part on this, but just before we do that, let me just say that I need to remind you again that let me introduce Polytank to you. Now, Polytank it's the real deal. I mean, Polytank has been with us for more than 30 years and has been trusted by all these generations. And make no mistake, always choose Polytank for guaranteed quality. And remember that there are all kinds of products in the system, but if you want to truly know the proper test, so don't be deceived because you're not sure of what you're buying or you don't really know what is in the market. Whether it's Rambo, Hippo, Sumo, or Super Sumo, durability is always assured with Polytank. It's the original, always the best. Papano, Ankasa. Again, Polytank does not request for Momo payment online. Are you also tired of talking about rainfalls and its, associated, casualties that it causes and so on? We're back again.
Well, sometimes I'm under the impression that some of our politicians, if not all of them, would be greatly disappointed if we didn't have floods.
Why?
Because for them, it is a cheap and easy way of advertising their sympathy for the people.
Okay.
They're always there when there's flooding. Rather than take measures which would end the flooding, they would summon all the media houses to follow them with their cameras. They would go and stand in the floods, lift up little children, and pretend to have some sympathy. It's been like that for many, many years. I remember during the time of Mr. Rawlings, when there was flooding at the Circle, and he actually went there in rubber canoes.
Yes.
Paddling all over the place. I mean, showing that he was sympathetic to the people, loving father, and so on. That's all they do. Do they do anything else?
I doubt.
So the politicians will be very disappointed if we didn't get flooded from time to time. It's a big opportunity for them. You don't spend much. And there was one flooding at the Circle in Accra. The NDC leaders rushed there first, And in no time, the NPP leaders were told that, hey, your colleagues are already there. They also started running there. You understand? Hey, these politicians, please, what is wrong with you? solve the problem, fix it. You know, we don't need these demonstrations of sympathy. We want the problem solved. Remember the disaster which occurred again at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, leading to many deaths and fires and so on. And still the problem is there. And you see, what is even more annoying is when the politicians who control the national purse and have the responsibility for solving the problem turn around to blame the masses. Say, look at the masses, these irresponsible masses. They are the people causing the floods because they throw their waste into gutters. Is that true? It's not true. I have taken the trouble to walk all the way from Abelempe, followed that huge gutter, the Aladu gutter, all the way to Kwame Nkrumah Circle and into the Odo. Try it. It doesn't take a long time. It's a short distance.
Yeah.
What you find is sand. It is sand which has filled that huge gutter, which is supposed to take the load, you know, of the smaller gutters as well. It is true that in some of the gutters you find plastics and so on. But this main drain, this Abelempe drain, which goes all the way and empties into the Odo, it is sand. And the engineers must know why sand fills it all the time. In fact, one time I went to Aveno. In the big gutter, children were playing football in the gutter. Because it has been filled with sand.
Yeah.
You know. Another time I tried walking along that stretch. Interestingly, I found two dredgers. One of them was busy working, desilting, and the other was parked. And I went to find out why it was parked. This was a couple of years ago. And the operator told me that he had no fuel. And he had parked it. He had parked the dredger. And I'm told that the dredgers which work were actually working for 2-3 hours a day, and then they will close and go home. You understand? The engineers must find a way of preventing sand from filling, look, this is one of them, from filling these huge, you see the sand?
Yeah.
See, you see the dredger? That's what I'm talking about. Just see it for yourself. You know, the engineers must find a way of preventing sand from seeping into these gutters. And I think that it will help, you know. I'm told, and I'm not an expert, that all of the waters which come down here and flood, and so on, cause the flood, actually come from the mountains. You know, all the waters from the mountains drain down here.
The speed of it.
One of the significant things I'm noticing is that all those mountains, all the way up Eburi to Mampo and so on, are not what they used to be. This used to be heavily, densely forest. Now we've cut all the trees and are building mansions, you know, on these mountains. What is the consequence for us? Look, not too long ago, about 5 years ago or something, we all woke up one morning to hear news that some gentleman was busily filling the lagoon opposite, what is this hotel called? The lagoon opposite this posh hotel on the Labadi Road.
Oh, you mean La Palma Royal Beach?
Yes. Somebody was busy bringing sand and stones and so on, filling the lagoon so that you could erect something on it. Oh. And this irresponsibility is tolerated by everybody. When we were much younger, we used to go and hunt, you know, somewhere beyond Medina. There's a lake there, lakeside. Yes. There's a big lake there.
Lakeside.
They're big men, powerful people, rich men, big businessmen and so on, actually filled portions of the lake, which contained water.
They had this hits with this particular
with the hardest hits.
Yeah, but they filled it.
Yeah, I'm just practicing your point.
And built houses on it.
Yeah.
And we sat back and looked at them. Anytime we are doing demolitions, yesterday I saw us doing demolitions again. Whose structures are we demolishing? The poor people. The rich people can do anything they want. They can build in waterways. They can do whatever they want. Nothing happens to them. Look, these railway lines, I'm told that there's some space, allowable space for construction. People have built next to the railway lines, the rich people. Their houses are there. Nobody touches them. You understand? So, it is irresponsible politicians, irresponsible politicians who have led us to this space.
Okay.
And I think that we should punish them. Master, we should punish these politicians.
I agree.
We should punish them severely if they fail to act and there's flood.
Yeah.
And they come to show sympathy. We should embarrass them. We should hoot at them. We don't need their sympathies. You understand? If they fail to do what they have to do, we vote against them. You know, if they fail to do what they have to do, don't let us show them any support. Let's punish the politicians for failing to do their job. That is the only way forward. Because if the politicians knew that there were consequences for them, for the floods, they would act. Now they know there are some consequences, but those are pleasant consequences. They will be on the front pages of the newspapers.
Yeah.
They will be on television screens as people who sympathize with the masses. We should stop that and punish them severely. Let them suffer some pain for their recklessness and irresponsibility.
Okay. Now let's talk about a man who was punished severely for attending to an invitation by the Energy Committee in Parliament. John Jinapor, he's not happy with you. Collins. He said you invited him for a meeting to brief him on the state of energy sector. He gave you the briefing, and then you turn around to say he's talking plenty and that he's engaged in fear-mongering. You know, he's engaged in all kinds of things. I mean, that's very unfair to him. Yesterday we had a how do you call it, an interview with him on the show. Briefly, exactly what happened, so that we can move to a more substantive issue.
My good friend
John Jinapor.
John Jinapor. I've seen some publication on Ghana Web that the MPP tricked.
Yes, it emanated from here.
Yeah, yes. I mean, we tricked him into making comments, and I found that very, very unfortunate. The Energy Committee, as part of our oversight responsibilities, invited agencies under the power sector, VRA, GRIDCO, PURC, NEDCO, ECG, essentially for them to brief the committee on the activities. And what we normally do is that we look at their scheduled activities for the year and then approve them, basically. It was during this session that the committee, led by the chairman, and the chair of the committee is from the majority side.
Yeah.
Decided to bring in the media. And the media was just to cover the initial deliberations, which had the minister to give a brief remark. It was during his brief remarks as a minister that he made that statement, that as he sits, he's grumbling with how he intends to get fuel into the system, because the fuel that we have is just for 2.5 days. These were his words, not our words. Yesterday, when I listened to the interview you had with him, he said 2.5 days of LCO. And my brother, I have the video here. He never mentioned any LCO.
When he met you?
Yeah, absolutely.
During the committee interaction.
And the video is here. It's not my creation. It was because of that particular statement. Immediately he finished, then the media guys who were there tweeted it. I saw it on Joy News and the rest, that minister says we have 2.5 days left of fuel. So we didn't trick him. You can listen to the sound bite. I've just seen
But else you were saying light crude oil.
Absolutely. So at the committee, we all cringed a little bit. We all became a little bit jittery. Because he had made similar statements, if you recall, that we have just 5 hours of fuel left.
Yeah.
Then he subsequently came during the vetting to explain
HFO.
that he was referring to HFO.
Yes.
When he left, then GRIDCO appeared.
Yes.
When GRIDCO appeared, GRIDCO then gave us a data And the data showed that the 2.5 days he was referring to that have already gone viral was just in reference to one particular thermal plant, which is SunPower. So let me make it clear. We did not trick him. He was not invited by the minority. He was invited by the committee, chaired by the majority side. And it was he himself who made that comment. We didn't trick him to come and make that comment. Subsequently, I've heard him on other platforms now clarifying that what he was referring to was just in reference to LCO, which was to one particular thermal plant. How then do you blame the minority? How do you blame the minority for it?
Do you typically invite the media to cover these kinds of engagements?
I've been in other committees.
Okay.
The standing orders allow that even committee sittings can be public.
Right.
Yes. But the decision as to whether you bring a media house or not rests with the leadership, which is normally the chair and the ranking.
Do you know what went into the decision to invite the media?
I don't.
You're a deputy ranking?
Yes, and I said I don't. When I got there, the media were there. Okay. What it meant was that the chairman had decided on that. That's fine.
Okay.
That is part of our rule. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Indeed, Jinapo, my good friend, in his initial remarks, stated that he is happy to see the media.
Yeah.
He himself said it.
He said that?
Yes, that he is happy to see the media. And this is an innovation. He's been on the committee for some time, so this is an innovation. And that he's happy about it. We didn't ask him to tell us that we have just 2.5 days of fuel. And then the media picked it up. So I beg, it is not true that the minority tricked him into making those comments, or the minority tricked him, invited him when he got there was a media, and then when he made a statement, the media carried it. Okay. And then what it was, the media, I don't blame the media, because they carried what he said.
Of course.
Yes. And he didn't say that we have just 2.5 days of light crude oil. He said we have just 2.5 days of fuel. That was what he said. And that was what caused the panic with the media, and then they started tweeting it, and I saw Joy, Metro, everybody picked it up. So please, it is not entirely the case. Okay. But of course, subsequently, he's made comment that we've received some liquid fuel into the system. That is soothing for all of us. I'm happy, I'm a Ghanaian. If the lights are on, I'm happy about it. But there's nothing wrong with the minority drawing his attention to that kind of statement, especially on the back of what he said on the 7th of January. Because if you're a businessman and the minister said, I have just 2.5 days of fuel left, of course you panic. If you're in the industry, you panic. So the minorities call for him to focus his attention more on the doables rather than the panic communication. I don't see anything wrong with that. And I don't see why he thinks that we tricked him into coming there and then we blew.
But therein lies the challenge. You invited him not to just come and talk about solutions, but you also wanted, like you said, you want to know what the state of the power sector is.
Absolutely.
Where are we?
Absolutely.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now, in telling you, before he goes ahead to tell you where we are.
Yes.
Now, in telling you where we are.
Yes.
Never mind. For me, I think it was a blip where he said 2.5 days of fuel left and so on. I mean, he came to, of course, he came back to say he was
in reference to a particular.
Fine. But if the man tells you that this is where we are, 2.5 days, how then do you turn around to say that instead of telling us what the problem is, tell us what the solution is?
No, the man didn't come to tell us the facts. You yourself, you are saying that the 2.5 days he was referring to obviously may be a mishap.
Yes. Not obviously. I mean, he himself has come out
absolutely.
to clarify.
So, and you think we shouldn't prompt him that kind of statements are not well within the scope of things? Why shouldn't we say that? So, if he had come to the meeting and he said that we have 2.5 days of LCO in respect of SunPower, but we have others. There are other fuels and other thermal plant that can run for. In fact, the critical report says that some of them have about 11 days, 12 days left.
Right.
The media wouldn't have picked it up that you are saying 2.5 days.
Okay.
Yes. So our point is not for him. We are not saying that you shouldn't give us the facts.
Okay.
But you should give us the facts.
Right.
Yes, that's all. Right. You shouldn't be giving us any.
So your issue is not the issue is not about the fact that you think he's talking too much. Your issue is tell us the truth. Tell us the fact.
Absolutely. Tell us the facts.
See.
And
because the what the media has reported on various platforms is that you're saying that don't even tell us at all what the problem is. Just tell us what the solution is.
I was part of the drafting of the statement. I have a copy of the statement here. And I can give you a copy of the statement.
Right.
There's no way in the statement that we said that he shouldn't be talking.
Okay.
There's no way in that.
All right.
All we said was that he should focus his attention more on the deliverables.
All right.
That's all.
Okay. Uncle, did you also hear it? 2.5 days.
So we did not.
Look. You guys should just stop wasting our time. Just wasting our time. This semantic battle sometimes, and who said this, and how did he say it, and so on. It's all useless, as far as I'm concerned. About 1 year before the new Patriotic Party left power, this country was suffering serious power outages.
Fact.
It has continued into the 5th month of the National Democratic Congress. That is the situation. And sometimes I wonder, these guys look us in the face and say, oh, it is not Dumso. Do we care whether it is Dumso or you call it by another name? The point is that we are suffering power outages. That's the point.
That's a fact.
You understand? And in your time,
that's a fact.
You had the effrontery, really, to look us in the eye and to tell us that, oh, there's no Dumso in Ghana. What we have is Dumsiesi. Have you forgotten?
Yes, I've not forgotten.
There were power outages. Right now, you have the National Democratic Congress in power. And yesterday, I was reading through the newspapers and so on. And some officials of the Electricity Company of Ghana were telling us that we don't have Dumso. I said, is this not exactly what the NPP was telling us? Do we care what you call it? We don't. Look, there are nursing mothers with infant babies who need special care. And the baby's health suffer when there's no light. Think about them. Think about the many poor people who buy food and stock them in their freezers and fridges, so that they can cope with this increasing cost of food and so on. Think about babies in incubators. Think about all those scenarios and fix the problem and stop the unnecessary, useless politicking with power outages. That's what is happening. Unnecessary, completely useless politicking with power outages. Look, the people of Ghana have suffered enough. What the people of Ghana want is for you, again, the politicians, to fix the problems. And the problems are there. The power outages are there. Look, maybe I should not be talking about my own personal experiences and so on. My house nearly got burnt as a result of these power outages.
When?
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Really?
If I hadn't been in the house at the time. You understand? So stop it.
Oh, God forbid.
Stop it.
God forbid.
And stop this blame game and so on. It is a fact that there's a huge power sector debt. All of us know that. Yeah. Huge power sector debt. How do we pay it? And that power sector debt is part of the problems leading to these power outages, whether you call it Dumso or not. It is part of the problem. It's a fact that we have antiquated equipment. The power lines are old, the pylons are old, and so on. They need to be changed. It's a fact that line losses in Ghana are some of the highest in the world. That's a fact. It's a fact that this whole dream of privatization hasn't worked. We brought in independent power producers because we thought that was the solution. Is that the solution? The situation has gotten worse. So privatization hasn't worked in the sector. And we are talking about more privatization. When privatization hasn't worked, we are talking about more privatization. What's wrong with us? What's really wrong with these leaders that we have? So please, let's solve the problem. Let's sometimes listen to the workers, the ordinary workers in the electricity sector. Listen to the Public Utility Workers Union. I've listened to the Public Utility Workers Union, and they know what they're talking about. Listen to them and stop the arrogance. You understand? If you don't have a PhD to your name, everybody thinks that you're an idiot. Is that the case? Listen to the workers.
Okay.
They have been working the system for years. We came up with something that we thought was a solution. Decouple, that's what came up with Greco and
the value chain. Separating the value chain.
How has that impacted on power supply in this country? Has there been any positive outturn as a result of these useless policies which were implemented? What is wrong with these people? You go to the IMF, they tell you anything, then you come and impose it on us. You go to IMF, this so-called experts, these young persons who have just left university and so on, who are working for the IMF and so on, they come and tell you what to do, and then you follow them. And you have followed them for 18 years, for 20 years, for 30 years. There's no positive outcome. We are still following IMF and wasting our time.
Well, there's another development. If you look at the Daily Guide of today, it's a matter which has also been steeped in some serious politicking, which has to do with the appreciation of the Ghana cedis. Bawumia Mahama clash over cedi stabilization, Ernest Kofi Addo and Prince Fifi York. The recent appreciation of the Ghana cedi has sparked a sharp debate between the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and current President John Dramani Mahama, with both leaders crediting different policies and approaches for the currency's performance and broader economic recovery. No NDC policy caused cedi gains. Now, this is what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says. He says, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is also the 2024 New Patriotic Party presidential candidate, dismissed claims that the National Democratic Congress government deserves credit for the cedi's recent gains. Speaking during his thank you tour in London, Dr. Bawumia challenged the NDC to point to any policy they have implemented that directly influenced the currency's recent strength. And I'm going to quote him. If you are to ask the NDC to point out exactly what policy they have implemented that has resulted in the appreciation of the cedi, they cannot tell you one has been promised or talked about something real. There is no such policy. Dr. Bawumia explained that the NDC administration only passed its 2025 budget in March and has yet to begin significant spending or launch initiatives that could impact the currency. They have not even issued any contract or made any payment of note. So you cannot ascribe what is happening to the cedi to any policy they've implemented, he added. Instead, Dr. Bawumia attributed the cedi's gains to policies enacted under former President Nana Akufo-Addo's administration, of which he was part of, with particular focus on the gold purchase program launched in 2022. He recalled how Ghana's gold reserves were a mere 8.7 tons before the program, but grew to 30 tons in just 2 years, equating to $5 billion in reserves accumulated through domestic acquisition. Ghana, as Africa's largest gold producer, had just 8.7 tons of gold reserve. Meanwhile, countries like the US have over 8,000 tons. That reserve strength gives confidence in the currency. Bawumia said and continued, you don't need to export to earn gold. You just dig it up or buy it with cedis. It was a faster and easier way to shore up reserves. He argued that this build-up of gold reserves alongside of the gold for oil program shielded the economy from collapse and created a foundation for the currency stability. Dr. Bawumia also pointed to global factors and the NDC's limited spending as contributing to the cedi's current position. There's quite a number of other stories which are related to this matter. Okay, so what do you make of this?
Who is speaking?
Yes, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Are you sure it's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Yes. He's in the UK as we speak.
And he's saying those things?
Yeah, he's saying these, yes.
Under his watch?
Yes.
The cedi's value fell from 3 cedis 40 pesos to $1.
Yes.
To 16 cedis to $1.
Yes.
Does he know how to revive the cedi?
In fact, 17.
Thank you. So does he know how to revive the cedi? He was sitting there in power for 8 years, 8 long years. At the end of the 8 years, the value of the cedi was 17 to $1. What right has he got to be lecturing us about how to manage the value of the cedi? Given his experience, what rights has he got to be lecturing us, to be giving us these lectures and so on? You see, these chaps, these politicians, what do they take us for? They think that we're all just a bunch of yo-yos. He is giving us lectures on how to stabilize the city after his performance, the performance of his government. I can't believe it.
But you see, he says there was a seed that was sown some time back, 2 years ago. No, 2020, so that's about 3 years ago. The seed has germinated and is bearing fruit. The cedi has stabilized. The cedi is gaining strength over the major trading currencies. Why don't you credit me for this?
In the first month
yes.
of his assumption of the office,
yes.
Is he not the same person who was telling us how he has arrested the cedi or the dollar and giving the key to IGP? Yes. You take these people serious? Master, do you take them serious? Let's be real. Do you take them serious? They should stop these lectures. I mean, we are fed up with these lectures. Master, listen. I know, and everybody who has been reading at least the newspaper should know, that the cedi has appreciated in value as a result of a multiplicity of factors. Sure. One of them was simply the trade war, which was started by Donald Trump. It had very huge consequences on the value of the dollar worldwide. Okay. Beyond that, there are other measures and so on. But be what it is. I mean, whatever it is. Yesterday, when I checked the price of the dollar, I think it was 12 point something cedis to a dollar yesterday.
It's 12.4 today.
So it's a very huge appreciation. Everybody can see it. You understand? Everybody knows about the fact that the cedi's value is appreciating. You understand? I think we should leave it at that. Because some of the propaganda accompanying this strengthening of the cedi is absolutely nonsensical and will come back to hit those who are prosecuting this propaganda agenda. First of all, the impression is given that instantly prices will fall. Prices are not going to fall today or tomorrow. Okay? Because anybody who has studied elementary economics, elementary, I mean very elementary economics, knows about what is called the gestation period. So even if there's a deliberate policy measure, its effect is not felt immediately. And the gestation period differs from policy to policy, from policy measure to policy measure. It may take 6 months, it may take a year, and so on. Okay. So if you have studied elementary economics and you know about the gestation period for policies and so on, started strengthening to promise people that prices are going to fall. I was going to use a certain very strong word. I'll just put it back.
Please don't.
You understand? Because it's a display of ignorance. That's the mildest I can use. To be jumping from radio station and television station claiming that prices are going to fall. They are not going to fall anyway. And if you make these false promises, you know, these promises which are not based on science, what you do is that you sow seeds of displeasure, disenchantment against the government. Thus, you're giving them new unrealistic expectations by which they are going to judge you. You understand? In any case, speak to the traders. Some of the goods in the market were imported a year ago, some 6 months ago, some 3 months ago. Do you expect these traders to reduce the prices and lose? So what is happening? What is happening to all these people? Besides that, the two dominant political parties claim that the policies they are following are market-oriented policies, free market policies. Is that not what they say?
Absolutely, yeah. So
prices are not determined on the basis of command. That's what you people say you are following.
Or control.
Yeah, or control. I mean, this is not a centrally planned economy. You are running a market system. Allow the market to decide. Why are you jumping over all the place trying to determine prices when you say that you are running a free market system? I don't believe in the free market system. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. Over the last 30 years, it hasn't worked. I don't believe in it. But you say you believe in it, and then you are jumping around, meeting traders association and so on, and urging them to reduce prices. Is that how prices fall? In the free market economy, is that how prices fall or rise? Stop. Master, I hope that the next topic will be more edifying.
Okay, that's fine. Collins, why do you want to take credit for the strengthening or the upward uptick of the cedi against the major trading currencies? Why? What have you done?
You have made that adequacy hype down.
No, it's okay. He's just passionate about the topic, that's all.
Of course, I'm also very passionate about.
Right.
Because everybody knows the extent of the impact of an appreciation of the Ghana cedi. I just heard GPRTU requesting that transport fares be reduced. I've seen
by 15%.
Absolutely. I've seen that fuel prices have dropped because the exchange rate is a key component in its calculations. When we finish it, you couldn't deal with it. We should blame them squarely on the doorstep of the current government. If that is the principle, I'm all for it. I don't have any problem.
What do you think should be the ideal principle?
Me, I don't have any problem if government takes credit.
Okay.
If not for anything at all, I've seen a certain gold purchase agreement that they are having, that we are seeing some impact. But Ankwesi also made a very interesting point that apart from that gold process, there are other things that contribute to this stabilization or appreciation that we are seeing.
External factors.
There's nothing wrong in acknowledging that also. There's nothing wrong with that. That does not take away the benefits that the government should take. That does not take away that.
Okay.
Yesterday, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was speaking at the Africa EU summit.
Yes.
He said our current appreciation of the Ghana cedi, one of the key components as a result of our gross reserves, international reserves. And he quotes that currently we have about 10 billion.
Yeah.
And he himself, His Excellency, said he inherited 8.98 billion. How do you say it?
Right.
So if your reserve now is contributing to the appreciation of the cedi, and the big man himself is saying that currently it's 10 billion. However, he inherited 8.98 billion. Is that not an acknowledgement of the effort by the previous government?
And that's why I'm asking you that. What principle do you stand for?
Senior, come in. There's nothing wrong in taking credit.
Right.
I'm saying that they are in power. When they came, it was about $15 to $16.
Yes.
Per one cedi.
Yes.
Now it's almost 12 for something.
Yes.
Yes. Politically, you can take credit for it. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem if they take credit for that.
Okay.
But I'm saying once you take credit for being in government for 5 months and seeing this appreciation, you should also take the blame when there's a problem.
All right, fair point.
Fair point. Don't come and say that what is happening now, it started from somewhere. No problem. And I'm saying, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama himself, yesterday, attributed the appreciation, one of the reasons for the appreciation, to the reserve that they have. And he himself is saying that he inherited 8.98 billion. Now it's 10 billion, which means they've added less than 2 billion.
Right.
I'm not sure it is the addition they've added. That's why we're having this appreciation.
2.5 billion.
Absolutely. But it's because of what has been piled up over the years. So he himself has acknowledged that some efforts were made. Gold reserve. From the Bank of Ghana data themselves, Bank of Ghana data, they say they've added less than 1 ton. Currently, we have 31.37. They inherited 30.53. Is that not acknowledgement that some effort have been made? But I'm saying that, you can take credit. There's nothing wrong with that. They are in power.
But clearly, let me ask you this, Collins. Clearly, from what the president has said,
yes,
he probably belongs to a school of thought that believes that what has been done, which was good in the past, see it. And what has also been done, which was bad in the past, see it. Because consistently, you are talking about how the president is talking about what he had inherited, what has been bequeathed to him.
Yes.
And you mentioned, for instance, the gold purchases policy, which he says, this is what I inherited and this is what I've added.
Yes.
But you initially, even before you said this, acknowledging what the president has said, you were saying that what is the principle? Is it that are you accepting liabilities and the assets when you take over from a regime?
I wanted to establish,
or you pick and choose, or you nitpick?
Listen, I wanted to establish that principle because Others are reluctant to accept the fault.
Okay.
But they are quick to enjoy the positives.
Yeah, but that's you. Look, the two political parties are guilty for this.
Oh my God!
Guilty of this.
Bro, we are having a discussion here.
Yes.
You brought up the point that there's a debate between the two top leaders.
Yes.
Our former vice president.
Yes. Oh, who should be commended?
Who should be commended? The former vice president. I don't think he was given a lecture.
Yeah.
I think he met the MPP group, and then he talked
It's
about
the Young Executive Forum.
Absolutely. And his point was that within this 5 months, he has not seen any significant policy.
In fact, it's a singular policy.
Absolutely. That's him.
Yes.
I think that the gold board purchase agreement is one policy that is helping this particular.
Yes, the gold purchase
policy. I think so. Yes. I think so that it has brought some more liquidity into the system because there's a cycle. They give you the money, you buy the gold, they sell, and so there's kind of liquidity in the system. That is a policy by this government. But clearly, it is not just that policy that has brought the appreciation. And just as Uncle said, the trade war in the US globally is making the dollar itself weakened. That is one thing that is causing the appreciation we have here. Mr. Mahama himself, His Excellency, is talking about the reserves and the fact that they've added 2.5. And I'm saying that it's not just the 2.5 that has helped this appreciation. It's because he inherited 8-point-something billion, he has added 2.5. It is my hope that if within 5 months he's been able to add 2.5, it is my hope that if he continues that way, we may even be seeing a further drop in the. So for me, it's not about who should take the blame or who should not take the blame. They are in government. I'm happy about what I'm seeing. I don't have any problem acknowledging that a few months ago, a colleague friend of mine said, Collins, I needed 1.5 million or 1.6 million to buy $100,000. Just last week, I bought it at 1.3. There's a 300,000 difference. That is significant. I went to the pump. The fuel price have gone down. That is significant. Why shouldn't I be happy about it? And I don't have any problem if the government in power wants to take the credits for that. No problem, in power.
All right.
But I'm saying that once you take the credits, also be prepared to take the negative.
Okay.
Because then you cannot argue that, oh, you buy 5 months until we can't take care of them. So, no, you cannot tell us that.
Right.
Once you've been able to appreciate the city, you should be able to stop them. So take credit when it is due and accept the blame when necessary. That's all.
But even with the issue of Adumso, I've heard John Jinapor several times say that yes, they take full responsibility for what has happened, but it is also important that Ghanaians are kept abreast on where we are coming from.
Listen, Mr. John Jinapor was on this show.
Yes.
While I was coming, I was watching some of the sound bites. He was here. He said within 100 days, I can send you the video. Within 100 days, you see, they understand the problem. They have briefed their presidential candidate. They understand the enormity of the problem. They know the debt situation. In fact, he even argued on that show here that when they come within 100 days, they'll ring-fence all the energy sector debts and give it to government so that the books of all the energy sector players will be clean. He said it here. Madam for Parliament. I'm saying here. He said it here. No, you are making the point. That's why that's what brought this in. So for me, I understand that he has a clear understanding of the sector. So now he shouldn't be telling me that they've been in power for 5 months. Especially when people are saying that they've been in power for 5 months, they've been able to appreciate the dollar. Well, they've been able to appreciate the dollar. Thank God. And accept the blame when it's due.
JJ has appreciated the enormity of the tax much better after being in office for 5 months. I'm with you.
This thing
but you don't agree with him.
This thing about quoting what people said.
Yes.
In the heat of elections and so on. This is a very interesting game.
I will don't quote me. Don't quote me in the heat of the election.
He has over 100 quotes.
He has over 100 quotes.
Also, we have a lot of time.
And sometimes, you know, I'm tempted to play that game.
Don't quote me, I beg.
No, I'm not quoting you.
Which ones come to mind?
Yes, the leading member of the New Patriotic Party was sitting on television in Kumasi and saying that, look, this is the last moments of the election campaign.
Yeah.
Yes.
That if they are voted into power, there'll be 2 railway systems, train systems.
Yes.
One will be passing through the air, dashing. And the other one will be passing underwater. I'm sure you heard it. It didn't end there. There was another chap, prominent member of the party, who actually said that, look, do Ghanaians remember that after the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah, he became co-president of Guinea.
Yes.
And that Nana Akufo-Addo has done so well that many European countries will be approaching him to become their head of state.
Yes.
Are you quoting what people said in the heat of elections? Do you have the courage to quote what people said during the elections?
I'm quoting the relevant ones for this discussion.
The ones that are relatable to the discussion.
You've forgotten the trains which will be passing through the air, dashing.
Yeah.
What is this? Anyway,
we've had some things in the past, eh?
You see, a lot of times when figures are thrown at us,
yes,
we just accept them without doing a critical analysis.
Right.
Some figures have been thrown at us, and I intend to look at them briefly, just briefly. We are told that we now have reserves of 8.8 billion.
No, the current one now is 10 billion.
It's 10 billion.
This
more than 10
the
billion.
quote from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The
Okay.
current one.
Okay, so let's use 10 billion.
Yeah, but he said he inherited 8.98 billion.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now we are looking at records of governments, and one of the governments was in power for 8 years. And let us say that accumulated a reserve of 10 billion. We are talking about another government which has been in power for how long? 5 months. And has added 2.5 billion to that reserve.
Okay.
Just interrogate the figures.
There's no doubt about that.
5 months.
Yes.
5 months, 8 years, 10 billion.
Yes.
5 months, 2.5 billion. The figures speak volumes. You understand? Now, I've been talking about prices and whether they are going to escalate or they are going to fall and so on. You see, for some of the commodities, the immediate impact, there's an immediate impact. For some, it will take some time. If you take petrol, it's immediate.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that petroleum prices, are falling. And I'm not surprised that as a consequence of that, we are expecting a 15% decrease in fares. But even that, if I had the time, I don't have the time, I would have done some more studies to establish, what actually determines fuel prices.
Transport fares.
Transport fares. What actually determines that? What is the component of fuel in the cost, in the overall cost of running transport business and so on? We need to do that. My caution is that we should be careful. Because only yesterday, I read a report, and forgive me, I can't quote the reference from the newspapers. Maybe you also saw it.
You mean the Fish report?
Maybe.
It's a Fish report.
Which suggests that by the end of the year, the city will be exchanging for the dollar.
15.5.
14. What I read was 14.
Oh, it's actually 15. That's what Fitch said. I have the document. Yes.
You understand?
15.5, yes.
Now, what went into that study? I don't know. I haven't looked at the whole study. I've just looked at the result of the study, which predicts that by the end of the year, the dollar is likely to appreciate again.
They anticipate that government will really start spending on some of their big policy initiatives. Like
and that will bring pressure on the city.
That will bring a lot of pressure or even liquidity into the system. And that's what pushes people to buy dollars and hoard. So it was something that...
So I'm saying that those who today are jumping all over the place, making all kinds of statements.
Must be careful.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Look at this prediction. So when the end of the year comes and the city is exchanging for the dollar at 14, what are you going to say then? Yes, so don't tie yourself with all kinds of knots such that you can't extricate yourself.
Right.
Look, I am not opposed to propaganda. Propaganda is necessary. It's part of public education and so on. So I'm not opposed to propaganda.
All right.
But you see, nonsensical propaganda is distasteful.
Right.
It's distasteful. First of all, you assume that those who consume your propaganda are idiots. And we are not idiots. For God's sake, we are not idiots.
Okay. All right.
You understand?
So, Collins, Sami Jimfi says I should ask you this.
Oh, my brother.
It says, what is more important? Accumulating physical gold reserve with a dollar to CD exchange rate of 16 cedis, or accumulating adequate forex liquidity through unprecedented gold exports with a dollar to CD exchange rate of 12.2 cedis. Alhaji Bamia must answer these simple questions. I'll take a short break. I'll be right back. When I come back, my guests are still here. We'll continue with the conversation.
Hello my friends, my name is Kel. To protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day, and best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me, that's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel Kids, happy smile.
I'm a branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Mommy.
Michelle. Fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Where to get Polytank?
Oh, and you're fine.
Go straight.
No, I want for left, right.
And that's right. Ghana na ye wono. So when you do more, and ye data. Oh no! Abe, na ye me pe Polytank ato. Enu ti na me nua ba o ti ko dia be na ba hayo. O food to bia, e say enjoy ye kura.
Akuya bulambo kotoman. Emu ha.
Like they take took my eyes. Came to me and took go to the distributor and you give the original Polytank. You hear the sound?
Polytank, Papananka Sankasa.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
Hey Ghana, hey Accra, where you the maiden edition, walk in your jersey, Ignite Sports and Yade Bramo, Paso Saturday, 24th of May, 2025. Ya Shasia wa Accra Mall, near Kwakubia Center Point Mall, our Atomic Junction, Shannon So, Ignite Sports.
Team Bain our supporting Arsenal, Man U, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Inter, Anase, FC, Barcelona. Anye, Sewu Jesse, na Brasie, eye walk in your Jesse. Yenina yenshie Jesse, ni emra, ni enantimo.
Eti ye tu ye sade frɛ asɔre akuo enyina Keep Fit Club anase suku ahodoɔ enyina ye hyase ɛwɔ shopping mall Accra mall ye hyase na ye dia kopem ɛwɔ Center Point.
Eye walk in your Jesse. We taking over.
This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. The show is also live on 94.1 FM. And here with me is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper, Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., and also Collins Adumako Mensah, who is the MP for Efija Kwabre North, and also former Deputy Energy Minister and a Deputy Ranking Member on the Energy Committee of Parliament. Let me read a few messages before we move on to our second topic. But before then, today, Good Morning Ghana would end at 9:20 because we have a commercial interview, and I'll tell you what the commercial interview is all about shortly. But Eben from Kwamenya says the congestion of our cities has been with us for so many years, but it doesn't last due to political influences. I will, with the mayors of big cities, to be firm. I'll urge mayors of big cities to be firm this time around to sustain it so that there won't be traffic in towns. Regards to Haji Hawa of GRA and Custom Officer. Sani Salihu is a regular viewer of the show. He says that we're tired of this monotonous lectures. We want pragmatic measures to solve our problems. If CD gaining strength against the dollar is a fluke, then why was the Naira 83 pesos to a CD yesterday and the CFA also doing 23 CDs for 1,000 CFA? Why is the city showing strength against other currencies too? I prefer a teacher who is pragmatic without setting his learning objectives than a straight jacket teacher whose objectives are unrealistic. Good morning from Sani Salihu.
I hope that the texter was listening to what you were saying here.
Yes, I'm sure.
Because we mentioned several factors,
absolutely. Not just including yes,
local
factors. Yes. Absolutely.
He probably wasn't listening.
Yeah. You know, some of the texters they pre-write the text before the conversation even starts. I'm not saying Sally, that's what you've done. Don't get me wrong. Good morning, Moro. And to Uncle Kwesi Pratt, that's from Kojo Chumbuafo. And my nephew Collins. I just want to ask my nephew whether it is opposition that has affected his reasoning. I am alarmed listening to him this morning. Please, Collins, don't let your current condition affect the fine brain I have always known you to have. Please, I'm available to help you with counseling. Oh, Charlie, could you?
I know. He's having a chat with me and I'm saying,
oh, really?
Why don't you want to take blame? I said, no, you will take the blame. We will take the credit, not the blame.
So positive change in Medina says all of a sudden Dr. Bamiada was booted out of power for messing with the economy just a few months ago. Thinks that he can lecture Ghanaians on good governance and economic fundamentals. Well, since he is very good at lecturing on the economy in opposition, we can only help him remain there till 2058. That's from him. And Makojo Buafo. He says that Ghana's 32% line loss is not the best, and we should work at reducing it. Ghana deserves better. Thank you. And he sends us a research on Togo, which has the highest electricity line losses with over 87% of power output lost during transmission and distribution. Libya and Benin also have very high losses with over 60% of electricity loss. Haiti and the Republic of the Congo also experience significant losses. These high losses are primarily due to factors like aging infrastructure, theft, and poor maintenance. Exactly what Mr. Kwesi Pratt has been talking about. Okay, so the other messages, I'll read them. So Kofi Adoli, sorry about that. Kofi Adoli sends a message, says, Dr. Bamia's recent commentary into the media space can result from two things. Either he lacks the fact or that he simply ought to deceive the public again. It is true that during his tenure as the chairman of the economic management team, despite the 30 tons of gold reserves they accumulated up to at the Bank of England, they did not consider the use of gold in exchange for forex. The CD was $17 to $1. They accumulated gold merely to decorate votes in England. Under the Mahama government, in addition to accumulating gold up to 31 tons so far, the government has also undertaken gold for forex, which is mainly explaining the strength of the CD today. Dr. Bamia should stay focused on rendering more apologies for his unforgivable failures in government than attempt to feed the public with more of his failed propaganda. That's Kofi Adoli, who says this message. Now, how can see? There's a story here which is on the front page of your newspaper, and it has to do with our own, what I call anti-corruption crusader, Professor Kweku Azar, who has been spotlighting what he believes to be the unsustainable and inequitable nature of the gratuities. And he uses the judiciary as a case study. And I notice it's been published by the Inside newspaper, and here it says salaries of EC boss, AG heads of IGBS increased from 34,000 cedis to a whopping 62,000 in 4 years. Now, a renowned US-based Ghanaian lawyer and scholar, Professor Stephen Kweku Asare, popularly known as Kweku Azar, has shared some details of the salaries of heads of independent government bodies, including the Electoral Commission of Ghana and the Auditor General's Department. The details showed the salaries of the chairperson of the EC, the Auditor General, the Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SRAJ, and other IGB heads increased by more than 80% between 2020 and 2024. Yes. Fact. It says the heads of these IGBs were earning over 34,000 cedis per month as salary in 2020. This increased by 4% to about 36,000 in 2021. In 2022, their salary saw a further increase to over 38,000 cedis, which then spiked to 50,000 in 2023, accounting for the increase of about 30%. The EC boss and the other heads of the IGBS saw their salaries increase again by about 23% to over 61,000 cedis in 2024. The salaries went up again by about 2% to over 62,000 in 2024. Kweku Azar criticized the rate at which the salaries of the heads of IGBs increased. He said that while the heads of the independent bodies were enjoying salary increases, ordinary Ghanaians saw no growth in their wages during the same period. Total increase from 2020 to 2024, about 81%. Now compare that to CD depreciation, 2020-2024, 50 to 60%. Real wage growth, basically zero or negative for many Ghanaians. Debt restructuring for ordinary Ghanaians, haircuts on bonds, pensions, and savings. While citizens and pensioners were forced to share the burden and tighten belts, IGBs and surely other Article 71 beneficiaries were quietly awarded backdated raises. Now, he wrote this in a post shared on Facebook, 20th May 2025. Then he says, they get salary arrears, we get austerity. They get adjusted emoluments, we get emergency levies. The other independent government bodies in Ghana include the National Commission for Civic Education, the Public Services Commission, the National Media Commission, the National Development Planning Commission, the Lands Commission, and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. The other independent governance bodies in Ghana include the National Commission for, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And so Google has cited a document approving 2021-2024 salaries for chairpersons and members of independent, and it goes on and on and on and on. So basically what it's saying, the big world of a difference between what the ordinary man on the streets of Accra, ordinary worker is going through, and what our elites are amassing to themselves. And he thinks that we need to really nip this in the bud.
Can you give me the daily graphic?
Yeah, the daily graphic. Okay, that's fine.
There's
yes.
a very interesting study in the daily graphic of today. You know, and where is this study? This is daily graphic, page 5.
Yes.
And the story is Public Workers in Africa See Wages Fall survey.
Okay.
And it reads, public spending cuts across 6 African countries have resulted in incomes of health and education workers falling by up to 50% in 5 years.
55%.
Leaving them struggling to make ends meet, according to international NGO Action Aid. The Human Cost of Public Sector Cuts in Africa report, published on Tuesday, found that 97% of the healthcare workers it surveyed in Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Liberia, Malawi, and Nigeria could not cover their basic needs, such as food and rent, with their wages. This is today's Daily Graphic. The International Monetary Fund is to blame for these countries' failing public systems, the report said, as the agency advises government to significantly cut public spending to pay back foreign debt and so on. This is today's Daily Graphic.
That's a thinking country.
Okay, this is today's Daily Graphic. You understand? So if under these circumstances, the incomes of some category of public servants doubles in only a few years, it raises alarm. You understand? I mean, what is the moral justification for paying any Ghanaian 62,000 cedis a month and paying another Ghanaian 400 cedis a month? Show me any morality who can justify that.
Qualification?
It justifies that. You think so?
Our special skills, pay me for it.
Please.
Those skills can't be found. It's rare. It's not common. I own it. Pay me good money for it.
You are just saying it to stimulate discussion, or you believe it? Maybe I want to be sure. I want to know who I'm talking to. If you're just saying it to stimulate discussion, fair. But if you believe in it,
they'll tell you. Those who are earning those salaries will tell you that.
No, what do you say? What do you say?
No, I think it's unfair.
It's scandalous.
Yeah, it's unfair.
Nothing on earth
it's unfair
can justify paying somebody 500 cedis a month and paying another in the same situation. They go to the same market and so on, paying another 62,000 cedis a month. And you see, these special skills we are talking about, please, don't. Because the people who do the 500 cedi a month job, the judges cannot do their work. They don't have those skills to do their work. They cannot do their work. You understand? They can't.
They may not be.
They can't. I'm telling you, they can't. You want me to discuss some of those?
Some of those judges, before they became judges, may have been doing something before they became judges. I mean, for instance, if you're talking about an accountant is paid, say, 500 Ghana cedis at somewhere. The fact that I'm a judge doesn't mean that I can't do the accountant's job.
Did I tell you the jobs they can do?
What can they do?
This is morning television. You want me to tell you the jobs they can do?
No, don't.
Yeah?
Don't.
So you know the jobs they can do.
I know. I get that.
So this argument about skills as well, we should drop it.
Okay.
Because their skills, Master, some of the things that people do. I mean, the story is told of a man who works with the electricity company of Ghana. And his mother-in-law is going to the market in the morning and sees him on top of the pole trying to fix some wires as well.
Yes.
And the mother-in-law says, "Is this what you do for a living? Please calm down. It's not worth it. Climbing that pole early in the morning to go and fix." Master.
So your point is everybody's important. Everybody's job is important. So pay everybody well.
More than that.
Okay.
More than that.
Right.
Every human being needs a certain amount of calories to survive.
True.
Every human being needs a certain level of health care to stay alive. We all need to have clean water and so on.
Yeah.
In fact, if you deny some human beings the right to have a certain quantity of calories per day, you have sentenced them to death.
True.
You have just sentenced them to slow death, not just death, but slow death.
Okay.
You understand? And that is why I'm in full agreement with Professor Kuku Azar.
Yeah.
He's raising relevant questions that we need to look at.
He talks about elite capture.
You know, well, I won't style it that way.
Style it that way.
But there's the need to ensure basic survival, you know, for our citizens. I mean, do we want the situation in the United States of America where 2% of the population owns 98% of the total wealth of the country? Is that what we want?
Yeah.
2% of the population owns 98% of the total wealth of the whole country. Is that what we are driving towards? So I think we should put the brakes and attempt, try to build a more equitable society. Not be so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I share in the equitable.
We have just 4 minutes.
Equitable distribution of wealth. But I was just wondering, Nkwesi, in respect of Ekwaza's zooming in on the judiciary and their salaries, and who determines the salaries of the judiciary, especially the.
To be fair to Kokwasa, he's not zooming in on the judiciary. He tackles many other sectors.
Okay.
You know.
Because I know their salaries go through a certain process.
Okay.
I think they are Article 71.
One holders, yes,
You know,
yes.
including yourself.
Absolutely. So it goes through a certain process. You know, so maybe we should be tackling it from that angle, where a committee is set up and then they put up all these kind of allowances.
Okay.
So for a Supreme Court judge, he comes in, this is the decision by a committee that was set up under the Constitution. And what can the Supreme Court judge do? So I think we should be tackling it from that aspect, of course. But I understand the issues about equitability, because I mean, if you're a judge and I am a security guard in the courts, and I realize you are taking 60, 70, 80,000, and I'm taking this about 500, 700 Ghana cedis a month, it leads to all kinds of things. So yes, issue of equitability, I'm all for it. I mean, this goes to the core of, I mean, go to work, you work for 8 hours, another person works for 8 hours, and if you look at the disparity, it becomes
too huge.
It's too huge. It becomes a challenge. I'm sure the authorities will be listening and seeing how best they can adjust to reflect at least the living conditions of the Ghanaian people. And sometimes we see all that the ordinary Ghanaian is looking for are the basics.
Yeah.
You know, the good roads, water is flowing through his pipes. When it's raised, he's not flooded and all that. When all these things happen and they see the disparity, sometimes they are calmed down. But he gets home and you are the director of Ghana Meteorological Agency or anything, and you've not been able to give him all the data that he needs, but you are being paid with his taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
He gets home, there's flood in his house and all that. That's what breeds the anger and all that. So they should look at it and see how best they could at least provide the basic things for any Ghanaian.
Okay. So I want to thank the two of you for joining us once again, and you have no idea how much this means to us as a media station. Thank you so very much, Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., who is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper, and then also Mr. Collins Adomako Mensah. He's the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Efija Kwabre North constituency, and also a former Deputy Energy Minister. Thank you so very much for your time. It's been wonderful having the two of you here. All right, so we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to Strategic Mobilization Limited. They have some good news to share with Ghanaians as far as the operations are concerned. And so please stay with us. It's a conversation that I believe you would enjoy because it's about nation building, it's about national development. So please stay with us here. This is Good Morning Ghana.
Medina, here we come. It's the Cook Africa AU Day Cook Fest at Medina Market this Saturday, 24th May, brought to you by Gino. After walking in your jersey with IMG and Graphic Communication this Saturday, come through the Medina Markets for the AU Cook Fest, where there'll be lots of great African dishes on offer, including your favorite. See you on Saturday. Don't miss out on this.
Or the amount spices. Spices, the amount salt. We bet you a chance. Or the amount money.
The Cook Africa Cook Fest is proudly sponsored by Gino.
Hey Ghana! Hey Accra! Where you the maiden edition? Walk in your jersey. Ignite Sports and Yade Bramo. Paso Saturday, 24th of May, 2025. Yeah, Shasia wa Accra Mall. Near Kwakobia wa Center Point Mall. Our Atomic Junction. Shannon Zone. Ignite Sports.
Team Bain our supporting Arsenal, Man U, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Inter, Anase, FC Barcelona. And yeah, Shawu Jesse. Na Brasia, walk in your jersey. Yenina yenshia jersey. Niemra, nienantimo.
Etiye tuye sadefre asori akuo enyina. Keep Fit Club anase suku ahodo enyina. Ye shase ewo shopping mall. Accra mall ye shase na ye dia kopem ewo Center Point.
Walk in your jersey. We taking over.
Never throw rubbish or waste in the sea and rivers. Our water bodies are sacred. Let's protect them. Don't wait for others. Start cleaning today. The best time to act was yesterday. The next best is now.
The Ghana Celebrity Impact Awards, GCIA, is an annual award ceremony that recognizes and celebrates the outstanding contribution and impacts of Ghanaian individuals, corporate entities, and celebrities. It celebrates Ghanaian philanthropy, promotes social responsibility, empower youth and community development, and celebrate achievements in giving back to society, thereby fostering national pride and unity. Here are the nominees for Impact in Education Award category. Newmont Ghana Gold Limited, MTN Ghana Foundation, Olam Ghana, Telecel Ghana Foundation, B5 Plus Limited, Nestle Ghana, Ghana Commercial Bank, Ghana National Gas Company, Ghana Investment Promotion Council, GIPC, Pebi Corps. To vote for Impact in Education, go to www.GhanaCelebrityImpactAwards.com. For enquiries and table reservations, call 053-755-0058 or 053-753-5390. The Ghana Celebrity Impact Awards is brought to you by Visa King, GCIA, celebrating the spirit of giving back.
Superhero is my father because he is disciplined, lovely, and hardworking, especially to children.
I like to travel to South Korea because my father was an importer from that country.
You can have some games to practice at home, in your school, or in your communities.
Here we go.
61% of Ghana's was classified as poor.
This is Fair Generation Show, the program for smart children.
Fair Generation! Children, are you ready?
In a country like Ghana, where the growth of the economy is driven by resources and infrastructure, one of the most significant challenges is ensuring that tax revenue is collected efficiently and transparently. However, for over 2 decades, Ghana has faced a persistent issue: tax revenue leakages. These leakages have eroded the country's potential, hindering its ability to invest in essential public services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Tax revenue leakages have a far-reaching impact, limiting the government's ability to fund crucial services that citizens depend on. From congested hospitals with insufficient resources to schools struggling with outdated materials, the lack of tax revenue directly affects the quality of life for Ghanaians. These leakages, largely driven by inefficiencies in tax administration, corruption, and illicit activities such as smuggling and underreporting, have resulted in Ghana losing billions of dollars every year. In fact, the Auditor General's 2020 report revealed that Ghana lost approximately $2 billion due to these systemic issues. But amidst these challenges, a beacon of hope has emerged. The Revenue Assurance and Compliance Enforcement, RACE, program was established to confront these issues head-on. Through innovative strategies, RACE aims to track and reduce revenue leakages, ensuring that more funds reach the government coffers. RACE works tirelessly to monitor key sectors such as petroleum, mining, and customs, where leakages have been most prevalent. By implementing tighter compliance checks and utilizing technology, RACE is revolutionizing the way Ghana collects its tax revenue.
Services like public education and then healthcare suffer the most. Schools face budget cuts and then reduced programs. And then with the healthcare, there's limited resources, which affects the access to proper healthcare.
People don't see the usefulness of the tax that they pay to government, because when people realize that the money that they've paid into the government coffers are being used to build schools, clinic, giving us a better roads in the country, at the end of the day, I believe most people have the zeal to pay for tax.
A lot of Ghanaian people are not properly sensitized about the whole tax process, and I believe if the government engages in more tax educational programs, it can go a long way to help curb the issue of tax leakages. The second is to leverage on technology. I believe if the government leverages on technology, it's going to help streamline the tax collection process, which would in the long run, curb the issue of tax leakages?
To me, I think the government should give the traditional leaders, the local governments, the power to look after the resources there so that they will use it to build their town.
Another key player in this transformation is Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML, working in tandem with the Integrated Customs Management System, ICUMS. SML has been instrumental in enhancing revenue collection through technology-driven solutions. The Integrated Customs Management System, or ICUMS, has digitized customs processes, improving efficiency and reducing opportunities for corruption. With real-time data on imports and exports, ICUMS ensures that all goods crossing the borders are properly declared and taxed.
So before SML, from January 2019 to April 2020, which is a 60 months difference, NPA and GRA record the products that we use in this country, the petroleum product. NPA records theirs for the lifting, and the taxman GRA also record theirs for the tax purposes. Now, if you look at the infographics we are looking at, NPA, whilst NPA records 6.387 billion liters.
A bit more. All right, you're still live on Good Morning Ghana. The show is also live on 94.1 FM on your radio dial. We made a promise to you that we have a one-on-one conversation with the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited officials, and they have some good news for Ghanaians. It's about Ghana, it's about nation building, it's about what is good for this country. And I've got some great news that I want to share with you. They are 5 years old, so they've been celebrating their 5th anniversary, and they thought that it was important to share what their success story has been so far since they decided to set this up in order to help the country, which is help Ghana. So joining us this morning to tell us more about the success story is Yasewa Sapon, who is the Director of Support Services of Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. She's my guest on the show. It's not meant to be a very long interview because they say a good story must not necessarily be, elongated or talked a lot about. Anyway, Yasewa Sapon, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on the Good Morning Ghana show.
Good morning, Moro.
And I hope you're doing very well.
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah. Before we started the interview, I was watching, we played a very short documentary on what SML has been doing for this country ever since you set up, and it's quite a refreshing, story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite refreshing. How far have you come? It's been 5 years. What is there to celebrate?
Yes, so many. But before I start,
okay,
let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners, and to Ghana as a whole. Thank you for the invitation. And so SML celebrated 5 years a week ago. We celebrated it for remarkable experience in the downstream petroleum. We've achieved a lot when it comes to revenue assurance. We came to partner with GRA for years to help them be able to improve the revenue mobilization mandate that has been given them. What is remarkable about what we do is that we came, first of all, we are wholly Ghanaian owned business. So it's 100% Ghana.
100%?
100% Ghana.
Okay.
Ghanaian.
Okay.
So it's a Ghanaian business, homegrown initiative that needs to be supported. And, at current, we are employing over 450 direct posts and indirect. And we also, when you have homegrown initiative like SML, your investment is in the country, supporting the GDP of the country.
Right.
Stands rare in today's business landscape. Is the risk-reward business model structure that we bring on board. So what this is about is that we bear all the costs of everything. I hope that time will allow us to be able to show to you. We brought the videos. We want to show to Ghana what we have done, the deployments we have made on the field, and those that we have integrated the deployments on the field, the data we are collecting, to the automated systems in our data facility center, so there will be no human intervention.
Right.
So all of these deployments together with the automated systems have been deployed by us from needs assessment, piloting, operation, maintenance. You are dealing with a lot of software, you need to update them and all of that. Government has not invested in it, Epeswa. We put the proposal on the table. We are going to finance this, give the solution and the benefit. Government takes 95% and give us 5% of the reward that comes. That is a value proposition that is rare today on the business landscape. We also come with real-time monitoring.
So let me understand. Is it 5% on the additional revenue you are able
the excess gains
to
revenue,
raise, or
yes.
the excess gains?
The excess gains.
On the
So,
excess
yeah.
gains. So government was making, say, 1 million cedis. With the technology that you have deployed, you're able to make, say, $5 million, 5 million cedis.
Yes.
So the 5% is on the 4 million.
The additional that 4 million that we
that's
have.
Huge.
Yeah. That we have brought to add to what government is getting. It's called risk-reward business model. It's a balanced, arrangement that is made, considering it's a low cost to government, but high benefit to government as well.
Okay.
And we bear all the costs, including even duties. We are working with GRA.
Okay.
But the things we bring in, we pay duties for them.
Would you have wished you didn't?
No, we don't want to place any burden on government. That's why we put that on the table. But if we are giving, we will take. No, everybody, if we are giving, we will take.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't want to burden the government.
Right. Right. So do you play within the downstream sector or the upstream sector or both?
At current,
we
have spent 5 years in the downstream.
Okay.
But we have an extended, because of the proven track record that we have in the downstream, GRA saw the need that if you are giving us real-time insight in the downstream, please, we have need also in the upstream. Because, we are not Jesus. We can't walk to the waters, deep sea operation, but we don't have real-time insight. The real-time insight is, as we speak, SML is giving to GRA every lifting of petroleum product that is going on across the country. Boga, Bupe, Akosomo, Takoradi, Kumase. We have insight into that, even to the point of drilling down to the OMC's activities. So this gives them first-hand information as it's happening. And they need that also on the upstream, so they can be able to give to the nation every information that we need at every point in time on how many barrels of crude oil has been extracted and stored and taken off for export and all of that. But we have not started that yet. But the contract is signed. We have a contract for that. It's an extended scope to replicate the downstream.
Okay.
The same also for the solid minerals, starting with the gold. We have also developed the system for it. We call it SML Nova.
Okay.
We brought a video to show that, so we will show that as well.
You can say that, as you can tell, as you can see, whilst we're having the conversation and you're talking, we're also showing on the screen some of the state-of-the-art equipment that you fix,
yes,
so that we can kill two birds with one stone.
Yes, so what you are seeing right now is the SML upstream central data facility center.
Oh, you set it up already?
Yes,
it's
everything.
Ready.
It's 95% ready.
Okay.
The upstream and the solid mineral, the gold, SML Nova. This is the upstream. So at current, we have 3 FPSOs running. FPSO Ivan Setamels, FPSO Kwame Nkrumah, and then FPSO John Ajikun Kufuor. So what we have, if you look at this, we've sectioned it into 2. This is the picture for the FPSO. We have the other section where GRA has interest to know that's when the petroleum product the crude oil is extracted and is being separated. The crude oil that comes to storage, the hydrocarbons, that's where GRA has interest in, to meter, to know how much has been extracted and stored. And how much is being taken off so we can claim the royalties in real time. We are going to monitor that when we start the operations. So together with the offtake manifest and all the other monitoring documents, we give to GRA, and they are able to, make their own decisions about what is happening.
What is it about your services that's so unique that others can't do?
A lot.
What makes you stand out?
A lot. So the first one is that we are the system we have deployed, the technology we have brought, is the first of its kind. We partner with Honeywell in Houston, America.
Okay.
When we presented what we needed, they told us point blank, we've not done this for anybody in the world.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because, for instance, in the downstream, they are privately owned. The infrastructure is different. No two depots in the downstream have the same architecture. That means when you are designing for them, you have to customize it. So every deployment we have made in the downstream is customized. Now, when you go to other places,
so what are these? So sorry, go ahead.
So this that you are seeing are the field deployments. So this is the energy panel. We want to ensure that at every point in time, the information we are taking don't cut off. So we have solar panels, we have batteries, all of these put together. And then these are the flow meters, ultrasonic flow meters that we have strapped on the pipes.
Okay.
And they are strategically placed at the gantry, near the gantry, where the product is going to leave the depot.
Okay.
This means that no fuel leaves the depot unaccounted for.
Wow.
When we came into the downstream, because the infrastructure is already established, you can't intrude. So you have to do a non-intrusive. These are the forms, the technology for non-intrusive. So this is the ultrasonic flow meters.
Okay.
We also have the receivers and the converters that convert. The ultrasonic flow meters are measuring the pulses.
Okay.
So, but we have to be able to read it in a data form. So the receiver, this is a receiver, the one showing now. They are receivers that receive the pulses and convert them into readable data that can be sent into the data center for reconciliation purpose. Now, what is unique about SML is that we have fused the field information with the software, which we call our flagship software called SML Experian. We fused that together. What this is doing is that when the field information is collected as they are flowing, and this is automatic tank gauging systems as well. This is very important deployment that was needed in the downstream. It is recording, you see it's on the top of the tank. The big tanks we are looking at, these tanks were climbed by GRA officers every morning and evening to go and measure. They use dipsticks to go and measure the petroleum product, 20 feet tall. But because of this deployment, they don't have to go and do that anymore. It is to their discretion if they want to do that. What this is doing is that it is measuring the linear quantity of the product in the tanks. So at every point in time, in real time, GRA through SML knows the exact balance that is sitting in every tank in the depots across the country. That's the real time for that. Is also the flow computers at the depots that is storing. It's a computer storing the information and bringing it to the data center. What is interesting about this is that there is no company that is doing this for government where the field information like this is seamlessly integrated to the software. So once this is done, it sends to the data center. And the data, the SML Experian, that's the reconciliation. When we came to the downstream, the biggest issue that was facing GRA was that when the lifting volume is recorded, that didn't have a problem. NPA's system records it beautifully. But the taxman records less than half of what has been lifted. That means that you and I, Ghana is losing revenue. So when NPA records, system records the lifting for, let's say, 7 billion, GRA was receiving about 3 billion. Because the reconciliation, they are working on manual processes, as I've shown you. If you are climbing this tank to go and dip stick to measure, you know, they are prone to error. they are prone to risks of human manipulation.
So this is your
and all of
Tematank
that.
farm?
So yeah, this
Okay.
is this is the dashboard. So
Okay.
this is the data. When the data sends to
Right.
the center,
Right.
we see it in this way
Okay,
as
that's
well.
fine. Please continue. Yeah.
So
You're talking about the discrepancies between what NPR, for instance, records and what GRA records, and the need for the reconciliation of the figures.
I brought this to you.
Okay.
I also
Let me
brought
have
a
a look.
presentation that if they can, your production
show,
team can show it to me. I could.
So I see monthly
I would
average benchmark for
want
taxable
to-
volumes
yes.
before SML,
Yes.
after
If-
SML. Okay.
Yeah.
I see
So-
237 and then I see 388.
Yes,
Okay.
before.
This is what you want to.
Okay, so
okay.
if you can go to the impact for me.
Impact. Okay.
Impact. If you
Impact.
go to the impact,
Right.
we want to show to Ghana our impact, what we
Okay.
have done in the
Right.
downstream. Now,
Okay. This is, here we go.
yes,
Our impact by the
yes,
numbers.
our impact, they come in two. First of all, we give qualitative benefits and quantitative benefit. The numbers are the quantitative one, the ones that we can place figures on. And the qualitative one, there is a picture that we brought. When
Okay.
we went on suspension
Right.
last year, you know,
Last year.
people brought all this noise. So
Yeah.
they said, go on
Yeah.
suspension, let's look into this.
Yeah.
I want Ghana to see what happened. Can you show me
I mean,
the
that period
picture?
where you took a break.
Yeah.
You want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, we have evidence of what we are talking about.
Okay.
If your production team,
So
if
before
you can
SML,
go,
here we go.
No,
Oh,
that
that's
is
not
the impact. But I wanted us to look at some of the qualitative ones,
Okay,
the
the
ones that we
qualitative
can't measure, but
Okay.
they are critical.
They're critical.
So if you go to, I think the fourth slide,
Fourth slide, right?
you
So
will
the
find
fourth
some
slide.
sacks.
Okay.
So what is happening is that before SML,
Yeah, it will be showed.
physical documents.
Okay. Is that a
were
waybill stored in sacks?
Yes.
Okay.
So the waybills, which is like a pink sheet in the downstream for government, because when OMCs lift the products and they claim they have not lifted, the
Yes.
only way GRA can take the money for us is by the waybills. And these waybills, before SML, were stored in this way. They were stored in sacks.
I see.
Look, Moro, we are in an era where traditional AI has been outcompeted by generative AI. And even generative AI is also being outcompeted
Yes.
by integrative AI.
Absolutely.
This is what Ghana wants. Those who are claiming that SML is not doing anything, that SML should be taken out of the space, because this is what they want. The reason being that when this happens, this is national data on the floor in sacks. If I took a product and I don't want to pay, what do? It's very simple. Find a means to get my recordings from here. That's it, period.
I
The
see.
money is gone. And so all of these are evidence that we have come to show to Ghanaians to say that SML is in the news, not because we've done anything wrong, but with the figures that I'm showing you, if
Yeah.
yes, let's go to the figures.
Okay.
This, together with what we have brought, we have reconciled the money we are talking about. If you can go to the first graph for me, the
first graph.
where the money is.
Okay. Where
You will
the
see
figures are being
the
shown.
figures are being
what
shown.
Was, what was,
What was
and
what is now.
Okay.
The difference between
Okay.
the
All right, is
NPA
this one?
record. Yes, this one.
Good.
So before SML,
Okay.
you see that NPA
Yes.
was recording 6.3 billion liters. This
Right.
is an analysis we did for 16 months.
Okay.
GRA would only record 3.1 billion liters.
Okay.
The difference is more than 50%.
That's huge.
Yes, that is a gap. That was money lost through the gaps in the system.
Wow.
Human processes and all of the things that we should. If you store your physical documents in a sack, these are prone to happen. If you are measuring with dipsticks, these are prone to happen. Now we've provided an automatic tank gauging system and metering systems across the depots in the country. You know, what we have done is that if you can go to the previous slide.
The previous slides,
yeah.
yeah.
What we have done when SML came into the scene, we've matched the volumes. If NPA records 7.4 billion, GRA is also recording 7.1 billion. We've brought the gap from 3.2 billion to 260 million. That was within May 2020 to 2021.
Wow.
16 months just after we started operation. So we did the comparative analysis to show to Ghana that, look, this is what we have done. It's even now very flat now. We were still, you know, new and improving the systems.
So it's still work in progress. But the target is to hit zero.
The target, you know, government have exemptions.
Okay.
When we are having a project as a nation, we have to, you know, so those ones, the 260, some of them are those ones, yeah. But mainly, this is about 91.88% reduction that has been done. Let's talk about figures, numbers. So these are volumes. So when we translate it into figures, if we multiply the gap with 1.44, which is the tax rate, we still stay at 1.44, even though the tax rate is now 1.7, thereabout, yeah. When you multiply that with the tax component, what you are looking at, under 16 months, please can you go to the revenue gap? Next slide. Next slide. That's the graph showing how we have aligned the gap between NPA's recordings and
that of GRA.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yes, stay here for me. So, what you are looking at is that under 16 months, private people were illegally getting over 4.6 billion Ghana cedis. The gap you saw, translate, if you multiply that, and we have, you see, the reason why I brought this, we've published this. We have the data sources there. We've been saying this since last year. Nobody has come out to disprove that. Under 16 months, people were getting over 4.6 billion Ghana cedis into their pockets and short-chaining Ghana's revenue. And
yeah, but these are people whose your existence would be a threat to them.
Yeah, that's why we are where we are. This revenue gap in the downstream has been for a long time. Nobody wants to look at it because
people have made billions.
What it takes for anybody to tackle that is what has brought SML where we are. You know, you need to have, we've stepped on toes. We accept that because people who have been, and this is 16 months. So imagine, it's been for years. These stakeholders see SML as a threat.
I see.
And they will instigate whoever can be bought and be sold to come after SML. That is why last year you heard about us. We are in the news, not because we don't have a contract, not because we've taken money unduly. You know, GRA is being audited by the Auditor General every year. If SML since 2020 had, you know, taken money unduly, Auditor General would have flagged that. Yeah. We've not done any criminality against the nation.
Right.
We are where we are because under 16 months, private people, beneficiaries, were getting over 4.6 billion Ghana cedis. And now,
that's free money.
Yes. Because when it's lifted, once it's recorded, you see the NPA recording, it's always been around that average. 450.
Yeah.
When they NPA records that it's been lifted, it means that the product has been taken.
Yeah.
And that we should get tax for it. So if the taxman, which is GRA, is not enabled to use automated systems to do the work, and they are relying on human, you know, manual operation, these things are bound to happen. So SML came in to bring in the deployment. We've shown Ghana the deployments we've done. The time wouldn't allow us. There is more.
There's more
that we can show.
Right.
So we've done, this is one of it.
Right.
If you go to the next slide, we've also shown how we have the monthly average volumes. When we came, it was 208 million letters every month. And GRA was receiving about 299 million. We've more than doubled that. So now is the average monthly taxable volumes is 450 average. The money that it translates to is the 648 million Ghana cedis, more than what GRA was receiving. And that was going into private pockets. So we are up against you know, individuals and private people who are angry that why should GRA bring SML in that space?
They take their food out of their mouths.
It's not because SML is not doing the job. We have a documentary to show to Ghana. We will engage the public because we recognize that they are the stakeholder base. They will see what we have done. In the coming weeks, we are going to show to Ghana the documentary we have made to allow Ghanaians to see for themselves. And they will judge for themselves whether everything we are showing and what they have heard, who is telling the truth, because two people cannot be telling truth at the same time. There has to be one who is telling the truth and one who is not.
Okay.
And we believe, with all the evidences, we hope that we are telling the truth, and we have evidences for it. Anyone who has claimed that SML is not working, SML, up to date for a whole year, nobody has been able to bring evidence against SML. So yeah.
So we need to know this. The machines and the computers that you're using, the metering machines and so that you're using to basically gauge inflows and outflows. What is the margin of error for these machines? We need to know so that we can contextualize the impact that you've made so far for Ghanaians.
Yes. So there is a compensation that they give. The technical people will be able to explain deeper into this.
Right.
But you see, the product, the petroleum product, works with temperature as well. When it's cooler, they condense. When it's heated, like our temperature we have, it's lightened. So the stakeholders, which is the Standard Board Authority, NPA, GRA, they have agreed at a certain limit that should be, I think, a plus or minus 2 within that range, 1 to 2. If that, what we are recording and what has been recorded by the depot meters is beyond that, it's flagged. And GRA needs to look into that. That is the margin of error that we allow. It's been set by the Ghana Standard Authority, so we have no part in it. It's a standard that is there already. But I wanted to say this. The cumulative benefit, the cumulative benefits of the excess gains that we have been bringing on board from May 2020, since we started operation, to December 2024, brings the volume to 14.1 billion liters, which translates to over 20 billion Ghana cedis. This is a young company, in less than 5 years, giving this contribution to the coffers of the nation. And we have not ended there. In fact, we are waiting for our principals to give us the green light. We are extending it to the upstream because we know there is also potential also to the gold. And that was the video that we brought. We are going to give real-time insight and replicate what we have done in the downstream on the upstream, so we can know the barrels that has been extracted, taken off. At the gold room also with the gold. From the gold room, we are going to track the product, the consignment. So we have we have the analyzers that will analyze the chemical composition, which will give us the purity of the product. And when we have the purity of the product, it is able to help the system, the software SML Nova, to calculate an estimation of how much we should expect the product to be. And that gives an estimation cost of the royalties that we are supposed to receive as a nation. Now, when we finish with that, the analyzer is also able to tell us the company details, and it tags the product. When we tag the product, it's able to give the map where the product was tagged, and through the transportation processes, everywhere the product is until it hits the refinery, the system is tracking it. So once we begin operation, gold that turns into precious, we call it precious stones.
Absolutely.
Because gold that turns to stone, it's not going to be anymore, at least for government led by GRA, And when we hit the refinery then gives the final, cost of estimation for the product that they have received. So the system will send us data back in Ghana to tell us The product has hit the refinery. This is the estimated cost. We reconcile with what we did here. And I'm sure that once we plug in GRA and the Standard Board, just like the margin you are talking about, they will establish that.
Right.
And once we establish that, we know this is the royalty due the nation in real time. So gold has left the shores of Ghana, and it's not so. 20 years, we still don't know the records of that product. It's going to be a thing in the past. It's a remarkable, I call it remarkable, and I call it also a new era in the extractive industry for government. Once SML starts this operation, from our assessment, we know that together with the downstream, in the next 10, 15 years, we shouldn't put our cup in our hands to go and beg IMF or anybody. We can generate the money here. And SML is ready to enable GRA, the institution that the whole nation has mandated to, collect revenue from these natural resources for us. What is important to me, and for me as a Ghanaian, I love so much about the technology we have brought, is the data. Probably because I have a research background.
Right.
So it's the data, because the world is running on data now. So the data that we are going to receive in real time is going to allow the country to be able to make informed decisions about resource flow. And it is beautiful. We going forward, what we will do is that we will engage the public strategically as we have started.
Right.
So they will know from time to time everything that is going on. So they can be informed, they can appreciate what we are doing. And together as a nation, we know that we have eyes into the natural resource flow that's going on,
Okay. All right. So in case you just joined us, we're talking to Yasewa Sapong. She's the Director of Support Services of Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. Now, they have been talking to us and sharing the success stories about what they've been up to in the last 5 years since the company was incorporated in this country, and the huge volumes of revenue that they've been able to generate for this country, for which reason they require and expect everybody, all of us Ghanaians, to support them. Remember, this is 100% Ghanaian owned, and there's nothing like capital flight where monies are going to be siphoned to some other countries, and that puts a lot of pressure on the dollar. It stays here in Ghana. And also, you're looking at the fact that 100%, most of the workers there are Ghanaians, so working with them. And now she's telling us that because of the success story within the downstream petroleum sector, the upstream petroleum sector is also coming on. It's coming up quite strongly. In fact, they're now looking at even partnering. So what it means is that you're actually looking at partnering Gold Board, isn't it? Is that part of your plans?
We don't do collaboration directly.
Right.
We've been employed by GRA.
Right.
So if GRA deems it appropriate, or they see that they have to
Gold Board will need your services.
With Gold Board.
Okay. Why not?
They work through, just like we work with NPA through GRA.
Right.
If we want to do anything in the downstream, we tell GRA, this is where we are, this is what we will need. And GRA will lead, and we will have the collaborative,
Well, is this something we're looking forward to? Because when I look at the kinds of machines and equipment that you have, the technology that you have, I don't see a situation. I don't see why, for instance, the Ghana Revenue Authority shouldn't be telling that, look, we need you to partner Gold Board as well, so you can help us monitor what is going in out and what is coming in.
I'm sure going forward, because Gold Board is also for the solid minerals.
Absolutely.
Just as NPA is for the downstream. And GNPC also for the upstream.
Absolutely.
So it's a collaborative effort. But the vision is not stopping in Ghana.
Hey.
The vision is
you are
Pan-African.
internationalizing. You're globalizing.
Moro, we can't do this and stay it in Ghana.
You mean Africa needs your services, not just Ghana?
All over Africa, governments have, I think according to the African Development Bank group, over $90 billion just go down the drain through illegal financial flows. So governments are looking for credible partners like SML to partner with, to do these things that we are doing for Ghana. So we've already started talking because, you know, Ghana set the pace. They see, they watch. So when they see that there is something new, they approach.
Right.
And we are talking, we are on the table talking to these countries as well. So the vision is a Pan-African vision. We are going to enable African governments to enter into this transformative era.
Okay.
So we can, together, as a continent, we will grow by raking in revenue that will help us develop our nations. That is the vision. That is where we are going. So it's not just about Gold Board, Ghana, GNPC. No. Everywhere that we have natural resources, we have issues with revenue leakage. And mostly in Africa, you know, the root causes of revenue leakage are the outdated systems that we have, the lack of technology that we have. And our system is the first of its kind, like I started with. It's the first of its kind, innovation that we have brought to this. Everybody, we've had calls. People in this country have seen it, they've observed it. Those who have seen, we've opened our doors for many to come and see. And we are telling Ghana today that our doors are open to all who wish to see firsthand the transformative technology that Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited has brought to the nation.
Okay.
So our data facility centers are open. We want Ghana to know. We want Ghana to see that Ghana, Africa can build strong and boldly to transform our continent. And SML is leading. And we are very happy that it's a Ghanaian, that's why we know the name Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. We are taking Ghana with us. You know how billionaire Alinko Dangote is taking Nigeria. Everywhere we mention Dangote, it's Nigeria. Everywhere we mention SML is going to be Ghana attached to it. And our vision for the next 10, 15 years is to establish that. When we were starting in 2018, the vision we set was that by 2025, we will be key decision makers in the revenue assurance. If you look at what we have done, we've achieved remarkably in the downstream, and with the new innovation we have brought on board, you know that we have more than achieved our vision. So what we have set for ourselves, we will achieve it, and we will bring the report to Ghana. Ghanaians will also hear. Thank you.
Okay. Now, before you take leave of us in the next few minutes, what do you have to say about what some of your critics have said about, you know, you didn't have full approval from the Public Procurement Authority before you started your operations? What's the story there? What do you have to say to us on that?
What I would like to say about this is that we have a PPA approval.
Okay, you do have it.
We have, you know, people, it was thrown to, Ghanaians were misinformed. It was thrown to
us
Ghana.
the truth. Okay.
In fact, it's a disinformation that was given to,
disinformation.
yes, because people are angry. 4.6 billion Ghana cedis under 16 months was going into their pockets. Now you've taken that out. What do you want them to do? They need to come to the public court, which is the Ghanaians, to tell them stories that will make them, you know, evoke sentiments. And that was the way they did. Evoke the public sentiments, tell Ghana, SML don't even have this contract, they don't have this, they are not even working. That was what the critic said. We are not doing nothing for money. But look at what the deployments we have done. Everything is ITES certified. When we say ITES certified, it means, you know, in the petroleum industry, it's a charged environment. You can't use ordinary things to do deployments. So they have certification materials that they use. If you buy, let's say if this pen is a cable that you buy for your ordinary work in your home, and it's, let's say, 200 Ghana cedis, ITES certified will be bought at 10 million, all Ghana cedis, 10 million, which is...
That's 1,000 cedis?
1,000 cedis.
Yes.
That's how you buy that for. So all of these things have gone down. We've done them. And somebody claims that SML is not doing anything. taking money has no, in fact, the way they put it, it even looks as if we don't even have an office.
Yeah.
So when we have 10-year contract, when it's not the case, there is nowhere that there's a 10-year contract for SML. SML has not done that. So we have a contract for the downstream, upstream, and the gold. It's been approved by PPA. We have the evidence for it. And I don't know whether we have the time. I could go through my files and show you the PPA approval that we have.
Yes.
We have everything.
I don't have any reason to doubt you. I just wanted to set the record straight.
Yes, we have everything. So SML is operating legally in this country. And we, as far as we are concerned and we know, we've not done any criminality.
Okay. You know, there was a question I asked you earlier, and we have the next 5 minutes to wrap up on this.
Right.
So, and to be fair to you, I distracted you at some point because I wanted you to also, you know, walk us through some videos that were showing. I asked about what is so special and unique about SM in terms of the services that you're rendering that, you know, no other government institution can render, for which reason we must continue to work and to partner with you. And you talked about the quality of the machines and equipment and technology that you've deployed. What is it? What again?
The real-time insight.
Okay.
That is what has been able to bring the money up. Right. Because OMCs could lift beyond their bond, the bond limit that they have set for them. One OMC can lift the bond limit within a day.
What's the bond limit?
So their insurers have insured a certain amount that when they get to, that is how much they can afford if they get into issues with GRA.
Okay.
So GRA knows when they go beyond that, then they are getting into that situation.
Okay.
So they don't allow them to lift beyond their bond limit.
Right.
Once they do that, you know you are entering into indebtedness with them. They close the company, you will not find it anymore. It's gone.
Right.
Once they know they can't settle that bill. How do you check this? You need a real-time insight. If you don't have that, you will not know. They will lift within a day. But GRA has, within a month, they have 2 windows. First 15 days window, and then the last 15 days window. So by the time they are able to sit to do reconciliation of all of this, the company has lifted everything they want to lift, and they've gone bust. Where do you find them? Also, because of the automation that we have brought, when GRA closes work, in some video that was accusing us, I think they asked, so do you need SML meters to watch? 24-hour surveillance. Look, in our very homes that we live, even when we are asleep, people are breaking in to come in to steal. So what about the bonded warehouse where there is no monitoring going on? And GRA, they are civil workers. They have to close from work. There is a closing hour. So after the closing hour, who is watching? Who is watching what? You see? So if liftings go on, the products are lifted, they will not be accounted for. But because of the automated systems we brought, the metering, the automatic time gauging systems, we are recording. If we, by close of work today, we recorded 5.2, and tomorrow morning we come and we have 5.2.1, the depot will be responsible to pay for that. And no depot wants to pay for that. So now, no fuel leaves the depot unaccounted for. Let me give you an evidence. Before SML came in, 2020, before 2020, you see there were mushrooming of fuel stations. Even behind your window, there was a fuel station coming up. Because when they lift the petroleum products and the importers, we call them bulk distributors, they have OMCs as well. So they sell to themselves. Some of them also own the bonded warehouse. If they do the transaction in the absence of GRA, how would they know? People were getting the fuel without the tax component attached to it, so it was cheaper. When you pick the fuel, you can't take it to your house. You need a dumping place. And the dumping place cannot be in the bush. You have to put it in a place where you can sell to the public. So you need to open a fuel station. That was the reason for the springing up of the fuel stations. The issue we have come to settle was critically becoming a national security issue. That is why GRA commissioned SNYOM auditors, EY auditors. If you have heard EY report, they did an audit because the stock reconciliation was awful. CBOT did the same thing. The findings were consistent. The reconciliation of the lifted product and the taxable volumes, it was nothing to compare. This was up, this was down. Okay. And it's all because the products are lifted unaccounted for. So the value proposition SML brings to the table is that we bring automation, and not just any automation. You know, the furthest you can go, companies come in, they either do the field deployment, and then the humans will write the rest. That is not the case with SML. We have the field deployments at the depot that sends the information over the secure satellite and bring it to the data center, where the SML Experience is the flagship software program. It does the reconciliation itself. GRA calls it SML Totalizer. It does the reconciliation itself to ensure that the measurements we took at the depot, the measurements we took from MPA, the measurement GRA has in the GRA icons, and the SML meters itself all align. If they don't align, there is a problem. That is another one thing. We drill down to the OMC activities. So at every point in time, we know OMCA is lifting as we speak. OMCA is lifting from Kumasi, from Akosombo, from Boga, because we have the fuel stations across the country. And you can't come all the way to Tema to lift. You have to lift at the nearest depot. So when we need fuel at the fuel station in Kumasi, OMCA has to go to the depot at Kumasi to pick the product and send it to the fuel station in Kumasi. We are looking into all these activities. The time, the product type, the system is recording it. The flow meters, they record the product type. And the benefit of this is that before SML, sometimes these product types were switched. If petrol was lifted, because the tax component of petrol is higher, kerosene is subsidized because it's for our old folks in the village, you know. So what they do is that they switch. If we lifted petrol, we will write that we lifted kerosene. That is an avenue for revenue loss. Now it's automated. The system itself is able to detect the type of product running through the pipe. So we don't need you. Thank you very much. Everything is recorded, and it's not even humans going to record it. The system sends it via the satellite to the data center. So we drill down the OMC's activities. That doesn't stop there. We also do the tax reconciliation to help GRA be able to know the estimated revenue they are supposed to receive every day. Okay. So as we are totalizing how much has been lifted and we are monitoring it, the system is also, it's an AI. Right. It is computerizing the money as well. So at close of business today, GRA knows exact amount they are supposed to receive in the downstream.
I get it. It's work ongoing in the downstream sector. Yes. The work is ongoing. Yes. Because we can't afford to lose even a second. A second means a lot of money going down the drain. Yes. Okay. But how about the upstream sector? We've not started. It's still work in progress.
We have finished our part. Okay. SML, we finished everything. It's just about waiting for the green light to plug in and play.
That's fine. That's
where we are. Fine. So we finished. We've unveiled it. We took the advantage of our 5th year anniversary in the downstream to unveil what we have done for the upstream and the gold. Yeah.
So in conclusion, we have transformed GRA's vision of digital revenue assurance into reality, making Ghana the first in Africa to implement a real-time petroleum monitoring and specialist tax audit solution. Through our platform, Ghana is transitioning from revenue fragility to resilience by closing long-standing gaps in key sectors such as petroleum and solid minerals. SML's impact is not just measurable, it's transformational. We strengthen institutions, protect revenue, and set a new standard for public financial management, proving that with the right tools and partnership, Ghana can stand tall, build boldly through homegrown, globally benchmark solutions, and finance its destiny on its own terms. And I'm reading this from the brochure you just gave me.
Yes, we are going to place them in strategic places like the Shell stations.
For people to read up and get to know more about
you know, the figures I was talking about.
Yeah.
We've put them in tables, so every month, everybody can see how much figures were recorded. So we can all make the calculations ourselves. We are giving evidence of what we are saying.
So every quarter, every month? How are you going to do it?
Since, this is since we came. This is the first. So we will continue. Like I said, we will strategically engage the public. We will continue to let them know what has, because I think one thing that made our accusers very successful, SML was barely known by anybody. If the public knew us as they are knowing now, it would have been a different case, because the public would have said, no, you are lying. Yes. Yes. Thank you very much.
All right. When you're dropping these brochures, don't forget to drop some of the front desk of the media houses, because we are the ones who are inspiring the conversations.
Thank you.
And we'll be asking the questions. But when we have the information, it also helps us to ask the right questions. Yeah, I want to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
It's wonderful having you here. I think that you've simplified it. You've made it very simple for ordinary people who may not necessarily be following what's happening with the downstream and upstream petroleum sector and how important your role is. We'll now be able to, anyway,
thank you.
Yasa Wasapon is the Director of Support Services of Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. She's here to share the success story of the company in the last 5 years since they've been around. I hope that you have been, apprised with the requisite knowledge enough so that when issues come up, you're also able to ask the critical questions. Yeah, thank you so very much once again, and have a wonderful day. All right, so this is where we end an extended version of Good Morning Ghana. As you can tell, it's a commercial interview. It's been paid for. It's not free, and so we're not doing PR for anybody. It's been paid for.